All right, so welcome anybody watching the broadcast or the recording to Cat-pocalypse World at GauntletCon 2018. So the basic gist of this game is that you are all a colony of cats that were formerly pet cats, but something terrible has happened to human civilization. The humans are all gone, and now you are living on your own as cats and trying to survive and basically trying to decide whether you want to rebuild your relationship with people and become pets again, or if you're ready to strike out on your own and kind of initiate the age of cats. So the documents that I gave you, the rules document there has the basic rules to the game, but also if you scroll down, you'll see the moves and you'll see the playbooks there at the end. So all of the stuff you need to reference will be in there. The concept of this game is that it's meant to be kind of lighthearted and zany because, I mean, we're cats, right? And we're doing cat stuff. So this is not meant to be like a super grim, dark kind of game. It's meant to be a little bit silly in terms of the tone of it. And so before we get into anything, I want to give you an opportunity to give us any lines or veils you have. So basically anything, any subject matter you want to just kind of rule out from the start, or anything that you want to be like, you know, it's okay if that happens, but let's not have it happen on screen. So is there anything anyone would like to nominate? You can either say it, or you can go on the character keeper. There's a tab that says lines and veils, and you can go in there and just type it in if you want to do that.
I'm generally okay, though it might be something veilish if, like, I wouldn't want particularly to see, like, the kittens treated cruelly. I realize we're cats, so I could sort of deal pretty well with fighting amongst cats, but I'd really sort of hate to see something terrible happen to kittens.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem. I'll list that under veils there then. And so while anyone else is thinking if there's anything else you want to add to that, we do have the X card. So there's a button in the roll for your party that you can hit that says X card, and it will give us all a message that somebody's hit that. Or you can also just, on the screen there, kind of hold up your arms as an X. So if anything comes up that you're like, yeah, let's not go there, then you can just X that out. And we'll kind of rewind a little bit, go in a different direction, just to make sure everybody's having a good time. Okay, so let me go ahead then and start
playbooks. Yeah. What is the look and toy and attitude? I'm
going to go through all that. Cool. So I will, because none of you have ever played this game before, because it's still in development. So let me go through the rules, and you might want to have one of the playbooks in front of you just so you can kind of see where this is all going to show up, or all the stuff is on the PCs tab of the character keeper as well. So we're actually going to start by creating our colony. So the group that you're all part of here. So in order to do that, we will pick out, we'll give the colony a name. You know, your community is going to have a name to it. And then we're going to pick from, there's a list there that says what happened. And so we'll kind of collectively agree on one of those prompts for what, as far as the cats know at least, what happened to all the humans? Why has human civilization fallen apart? Why are you out on the street and not living in your cushy home getting fed and your litter scooped by a human anymore? And then we'll kind of talk about and flesh that out a bit. And then likewise, we'll pick one of the prompts for the origin. So how did all of you end up living together as a colony? What was the thing that brought you together? And again, pick one of the prompts and then kind of flesh it out. And then same thing for the habitat. So where is it that your colony is located? What kind of a place do you all sleep in? And the big problem that you're facing. So something to get the plot rolling. There's something's going on, some problem that you are facing, and so again, we'll pick one of those prompts and then kind of flesh it out. So that's all kind of world building stuff that we'll do first. Then we'll move into making your individual characters. So you'll pick one of those 6 playbooks, and so each of them is a different kind of character. And actually, before I get too deep into the explanation, how many of you have played a Powered by the Apocalypse game before? I see a lot of hands up. Okay, so you'll be pretty familiar with the general structure of how this works then. So you'll pick out a playbook that's kind of the type of cat that you want to be, and then you'll see on there that you're gonna pick a you'll pick a look, which is just kind of a, again, a prompt for what you look like, what your physical appearance is, and you'll flesh that out, and that's tells us a bit about how to imagine you. And you'll pick one of those prompts for your human. So this is the human whose pet you were before the apocalypse. So whoever, you're all former pet cats. And so what kind of a person did you live with? And so you'll pick one of those prompts and then kind of flesh out, who is this person? What was your relationship with them like? And even a bit about, as far as what happened to this person, where did they go? Might they still be around? Did you watch them die, or however you want to approach that. And you'll then pick the toy that you have. So each cat has a favorite toy that you essentially always have with you. And we'll kind of, we kind of hand wave how you actually carry that around, but you always have this toy with you. And the significance of that will come up in just a little bit when we talk about how the moves work. So you've all got a choice of 2 toys there, and you'll see one is marked D for domestic, and that's a toy that a cat is supposed to have that a human might have given to the cat. And then you have one that's marked F for feral, and that's a toy that a cat's not supposed to have. It's something that you appropriated from the humans that they didn't necessarily give you. So on the first one here, the veteran, your domestic toy is a catnip mouse, and somebody might have gone and bought that and given it to their cat. And your feral toy is a milk jug ring that you fished out of the garbage, but it's now your favorite toy. Then you're going to pick out your personal attitude, and this is your attitude towards other cats. So you're going to be either a lover or a loner. So if you're a lover, then you have a really positive relationship with other cats. You want to help and support them and cooperate and work together with them. If you are more of a loner, that means that not necessarily that you want to get rid of other cats and be by yourself, but that you see them as primarily useful to you, right? You can take advantage of them. You can get something from other cats. But you really want to be the ones calling the shots. You don't want any other cats to have, a claim on you, or you don't want to have, make promises or have any obligations to other cats in the colony. And so to start, you're going to give a +1 to one of those and a -1 to the other. So you'll either be +1 lover and -1 loner, or -1 lover +1 loner. So you put the plus and -1 into there, and then you'll pick 2 of the special moves there. And so you'll see on all the playbooks, the first special move is something it's like a complicated one. The other ones are just kind of bonuses to certain moves, because we're still working on writing a whole bunch of cool special moves. So you'll pick 2 out of the 3 options that you have there. And then the last thing you see, or next to the last thing, you've got your lives. So every cat has 9 lives. And so the way that lives work in this game is nothing can ever kill you. Like I as the CH, the cat herder, can never kill you. I can never be like, you failed at that, you're dead now. Because cats can kind of spring back from anything, right? A cat can fall off something. I saw this really great video yesterday of a snow leopard that was like running across this mountain and grabbed this goat, and they fell like 20 stories, like bouncing down this mountain, and the cat was still hanging on and trying to kill this thing. So like cats are real hard to kill. So nothing can ever be done to you that's going to kill you. However, you may choose at any point if you have failed on a roll. So if you've gotten the standard Powered by the Apocalypse 6 or less total on your roll, and so you're facing a hard move by me, I'm gonna like make something bad happen. You can say that you're going to sacrifice one of your lives, and when you do that, you get to do something kind of spectacular. You get to go out in a blaze of glory, doing something super awesome, but in the process, you end up getting killed. And then you're out for the rest of that scene. Then starting in the next scene, you can come back. So you've spent one of your 9 lives, but now you can come back and rejoin the game. And when you do that, you'll come back a little bit changed. So you will either swap one of your special moves. So you now got a different special move because you've changed a bit, or you will move 1 point one direction or the other between your lover and loner scores. So your stats will change a little bit. So something about you will change a little bit because of, and the way I kind of conceptualize it is, if you've seen Doctor Who, when the Doctor regenerates, it's still the same character, it's still the same person, still has the memories of everything, but the character is a little different. The personality is a little different every time the Doctor regenerates. So that's essentially what you're doing when you spend a life. So again, that's always your choice. If it's, you're going to fail at something, you're like, I want to spend one of my lives and make that happen. You just declare it and you do it. So with the toys, and I said they're marked feral or domestic, because that's kind of one of the big tensions in this game, is that question of, do you want to get back together with the humans, or do you want to strike out on your own and be an independent cat colony? So that feral versus domestic question is something that's happening at the level of the colony as a whole, rather than each individual cat. And so you'll see on the colony sheet there's kind of a slider that says feral and domestic, and it's on the character keeper as well. Down towards the bottom, there's the feral and domestic, and there's the little X in between them. So during the game, that X will be located somewhere along there, and that determines the colony's feral and domestic stats. And so that, there's always a trade-off. So the more domestic you are, the less feral you are, and vice versa. So when you go to do one of the moves, okay, so you've got a whole bunch of different moves. Some of them will tell you what stat to use, and others will just say roll plus attitude. So attitude could mean lover or loner. It could also mean feral or domestic, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing something, essentially an interaction with other cats, it's going to be either lover or loner, depending on what it is you're doing and how you're doing it. So if you're doing something that is cooperative, working together with another cat, you'd roll using your lover stat. If you're doing something that is hostile to another cat or trying to coerce them or something, then you'd use your loner stat. And then feral and domestic come into play when you're doing something that's going to affect the humans. So if you are in an antagonistic relationship to a human in what you're doing, then that's a feral. If you are trying to, make nice with humans, that's a domestic. And so before you roll, we'll kind of come to an agreement about which stat applies. And then you'll roll your 2d6, you'll add the relevant stat, and then you will look at the description there. 10 or more, you get something really good. 7 to 9, you get something either not as good or with a downside to it. And 6 or less, I get to do something nasty to you. And you'll see on the moves, some of them, there's a lot that have like the pick from this list kind of thing. And sometimes the things on that list will be labeled with a particular stat. And so you can only make that choice if you've used the relevant stat to roll it. So if we look at the very first one on the basic moves list, the jump, pounce, run, it says when you use your feline reflexes to get you through a physically challenging situation, roll plus attitude. So if you're going to do this, we decide before you roll which attitude applies to this. What is it you're really trying to do? What's the context in which you're trying to get through some situation, right? So like if you are doing this jump, pounce, run because you are trying to run away from a human who wants to pick you up, well, that would be feral, right? Because you're taking an antagonistic relationship towards humans. You don't want to do what the humans want you to do. Whereas on the other hand, if like there was a human that was in trouble and you're trying to get to that human to be able to help them, right? To like pull their baby out of the river or whatever, danger the human is in, that would be a domestic because you're doing something, positive towards humans. So we'd decide in advance based on what you're doing, which of those 4 attitudes was applying. And so, let's say you were rolling with feral and you got a 10 and up. You pick one off that list, but you wouldn't be able to pick that second option there because it's labeled as a domestic or lover option only. So you could pick the first one. Bystanders are left dumbfounded and confused. You could also pick the last one that's labeled either, where it says anyone with you gets +1 to following you. But you couldn't pick that middle one if you had rolled using feral. On the other hand, if you rolled using domestic, it would have been the other scenario. You would be able to pick that second one, but you wouldn't have been able to pick the first one. And then, you'll see you've gotten a 79, same kind of thing going on there. That one of the options is labeled as feral or loner only. One's labeled domestic or lover only. One's labeled as going with either. So some of the moves, we kind of have to make that decision about what attitude you're using before you roll it. Other moves will tell you that there are certain attitudes that you can use. So the next one on the list, claws out, is feral or loner only. Right? There's no positive, loving way to attack somebody with your claws. So you're either being feral because you're going claws out against the human, or you're being a loner because you're doing claws out against another cat. And so it'll be with whichever of those you're using, and then you've got the options of the outcomes there. So just pay attention to each move will tell you what kind of things, and if it just says roll plus attitude, that means it could be any of the 4. We'll decide. And so this is where that toy comes into play. So your toy is labeled either feral or domestic, and so if you are making a roll that's using either feral or domestic and you have a toy that has that same quality, so you're doing a domestic thing, you've got a domestic toy, you're doing a feral thing, you've got a feral toy, then you can, and I'm trying to come up with a more like thematically appropriate word, but I've been calling it invest your toy in the roll. You can say in advance that you're essentially taking inspiration or comfort or like moral support from having your toy with you when you do this. So you get +1 to the roll, and the downside to that is if you still fail the roll, if you get a 6 or less despite investing your toy in it, one of the things I could do as my hard move might be to have your toy get broken or lost. So it's it's not a guarantee. You might keep it and use it again, but it's you put it at a slight risk there. And at any point, if you come upon another human artifact, so toys are always things you get from humans. you could discard your original toy and pick up a new one. And it would count as a domestic toy if it's something that you convinced a human to give to you, and it's a feral toy if it's something that you stole from humans that humans didn't intend for you to take. So you can switch up your toy as the game goes on. Then I think the last couple of mechanics to make note of: every time you roll using feral or domestic, we check that off. And so on the character keeper, you'll see there's a little drop down next to those, the number scale there. So, it starts at 0, but, if say somebody does a feral roll, we take that up to 1. Somebody does a domestic roll, we add a 1 to the domestic one, etc. Once one of those scales hits 5, once you've rolled using a certain stat, a cumulative 5 times, that little X on the slider shifts 1 spot to the side, to that direction. So if you roll feral 5 times, that means your colony is sort of being more feral, and so you get better at that. But then, by contrast, you get worse at being domestic. So that will shift back and forth over the course of the game, depending on what stuff you're all collectively doing. And then the last thing is your XP, and that's pretty simple and pretty standard. Every time your roll comes out to a 6 or less total, you take an experience point so that you learn from your mistakes there. If you spend a life to do something awesome and go out in that blaze of glory, that doesn't count for XP. Because you didn't take the failure there. And then when you get to 5 XP, you get an advance. So you can either choose another special playbook move, or you can add 1 to either your lover or loner score. So they start out as a +1 and a -1, but then if you get advances, they'll no longer sum to 0. Okay, so I think that hits all of the rule stuff. Are there questions or things that people want explained more before we get into putting the characters together?
Are you saying with the toys that it's situational? We decide in a scene which one we have with us, or do we decide at the beginning?
No,
which
you start at the beginning which one you have. So like,
gotcha.
I'm looking at the veteran playbook here. If you picked catnip mouse, then that milk jug ring, that goes away.
Okay.
There is no milk jug ring unless you then, like, during the course of the game, somebody might like sneak into a human's house and find a milk jug ring or something, but you only have 1 toy to start.
Okay.
And to pick up a new favorite toy, you have to get rid of your old one. You have to drop and discard the old one to pick up the new one. So you can switch if you decide, oh, I need I've had this domestic toy, but I could really use a feral toy. You can switch it during the game, but you start with just 1. Okay. I'm looking at the character keeper here, and it looks like people have gotten a lot of stuff filled out here in your characters. So let's back up a second and talk a bit about your colony. So first let's talk about, so what happened? What was the catastrophe or apocalypse that has caused human civilization to fall apart? So your prompts here are pandemic, extremism, ecocide, or aliens. Does anyone have a feeling? Do any of those speak to someone as the kind of scenario that you want to play in?
And does this, do I get the feeling that it doesn't mean that all humans are flat out gone? It just means civilization's collapsed.
Right. Human civilization has collapsed. There may very well be, we kind of be ditching a lot of the mechanics if there were like literally no humans ever anywhere. And as we build this, we'll kind of figure out, are you like living next door to some humans that are still around? Like one game I played, the cats were in the parking lot of a Walmart that had been turned into this like Mad Max style fortress by some humans. And then in another game I was playing, the cats were like on this island and they had to go looking for humans. They didn't know where any humans were. So there are humans still exist in this world, but you're not living with them. You're living on your own.
Well, what we think for the cause, gang?
everyone loves a pandemic.
It's not a bad idea.
That's fine.
Pandemic. Okay, so tell me about this pandemic. What happened here? How did the humans manifest this this pandemic?
Do we think it's maybe something along the lines of, I don't know if any of you ever read the book White Plague, but like that the humans aren't able to breed as well as they used to. White Plague killed off all the women, but this would be, I think, more along the lines of like sterility is passing through. So very few humans are getting born, and those that are fertile probably are in like super high demand. What do people think? That was an odd thing to throw out, but there's a suggestion.
Yeah, don't they release viruses like that in wild rabbit populations around? I think they do that in Australia here. Maybe it's a genetically mutated pest control virus that's been adapted to humans.
Interesting. Does that kill the humans off quickly enough? If it's birth rate going down, probably it takes 20 or 30 years for civilization to collapse.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a slow apocalypse if that's what you want to go with.
Or we could go with something faster. That one popped to my mind.
No, it's cool. So the humans would sort of know.
So actually, now that I'm thinking about this suggestion more, I think I actually kind of want to X card this one, just because if we start getting too deep into like how humans are dealing with, we get into some like Handmaid's Tale kind of stuff that I think is a little heavy for this game. So I think like breeding related pandemic, I'd like if we could go in a little different direction.
Right. So if we go in a different direction, what about ecocide? I like that word. It's a good word. So like the environment is actually changing so much that maybe people on the coast, the water levels have risen, there's storms, and it's gotten to be enough that it's taken out most of the people. So society has kind of collapsed.
Not so unbelievable.
And that's another one that could get X-carded if it's too close to some people.
I'm an environmental studies professor, so I deal with that all the time. So I'm happy to make it ecocide if other people are cool with that.
Yep, it's a fun topic to explore.
Okay. So then how did you all come together? Why have you were all pets of different people. So how did you all end up together? So the kind of prompts here are family reunion, recruited, call for help, or prophetic visions.
Well, call for help gets us going right away.
Okay, so who called for help, and how did you all hear this call for help?
Do we think like our president Cat had sent out this call that with something bad going around, and those of us that were nearby answered, and we want to have it come from who our president is now? Or do we think there was something different that brought us all together, including him?
Yeah, so let me ask our president here, Chairman Meow. Have you been the president of this colony for a while? Have you always been the leader? Have you taken over recently? What's kind of your backstory there?
I think taking over recently makes a little more sense. Not that we have too much else that I have to stay within, but yeah, like he had the name as the owner's joke, but you know, when the call to lead happens, he took up the mantle and maybe a cute little hat. Yeah, how would a cat put out a call for help?
Propaganda. little kitty flyers with pictures of a regal-looking Chairman Meow.
Yes, join the cause.
Okay.
I will put this. I like this picture, actually. I'm going to steal this one, which has both a picture of him and the picture, because it's great.
Okay. All right. So you came together because Chairman Meow was putting out campaign posters. That sounds great. Okay. And how about your habitat? What kind of a place do you all live in?
Well, junkyard is always a good spot. Then, of course, there's like something that's more store oriented where we would, like a department store is kind of neat.
Yeah, so the list of prompts here is Human's Basement, Blasted Out Convenience Store, Weird Tree, Down by the River, or Jeep with No Gas. So the Blasted Out Convenience Store, if people like the idea of being in an old store, you could go with that one. And I see a few nods.
Junkyard, because we're going to find all kinds of weird other animals and stuff in there.
Yeah, yeah. We can interpret this kind of broadly, if you like. So you're in kind of more of a junkyard. Okay, and then the last kind of setup choice here. Which of these problems would you like to have? Cans but no can opener, a rival colony, a poisoned environment, inexperienced kittens, or new humans in town? Which of those sounds like a fun problem to deal with as kittens or as cats?
I'm thinking inexperienced kittens are new humans.
Yeah, I was leaning towards that too.
Okay,
Of those two, I prefer the new humans to the inexperienced kittens.
I kind of do too.
Charles?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be the tiebreaker and go with the humans.
Which are you going with? Sorry?
The humans, new humans.
New humans in town? Okay.
What about inexperienced humans?
Yeah, I mean, we can build some inexperienced kittens into the colony as well. You know, this is just, these are like prompts to get us some ideas flowing. It's not like, you know, there's no mechanics attached to it, so it's not like we can't work with it. Okay, so the last thing is, so I'm looking at the toys you all chose, and it looks like 3 of you chose feral toys and 2 domestic. So we're going to start that feral domestic slider 1 click to the feral side of the center. So if you are rolling feral at any point, you're going to roll at a +1. If you're rolling domestic at any point, you're going to roll at a 0, a flat roll, to start again until you accumulate 5 rolls of 1 type, and it moves that slider a little bit. I should also point out that if you do the sing the song of your people move, one of the options you can take if you succeed at that is to just move that slider, the colony attitude slider, by 1 point. So if you're ever feeling like the colony is getting a little too feral and you want to make it a little more domestic, you could sing the song of your people and roll plus domestic. And if you succeed, you could, as part of what you get to do succeeding, you can choose to shift that slider a bit. So you have a little bit of additional control over where that lands. So let's just go around now and have you each introduce your cat. Tell us a little bit about who they are, what they look like, what their personality is like, what kind of a human they lived with, and a little bit about how you ended up in this colony. So let's start with Charles. Tell us about Chairman Meow. I think you're muted there.
He's a gray tabby, a good old American tabby, and well, his attitude is he's more of a lover, and he has this distinguished look, particularly because of a hat that he doesn't mind wearing. Which his owner had given him. His owner, being Mr. Dawson, was a strict owner, and he himself was a businessman of some type, and he taught him a few tricks, I don't know what else to say.
Okay. No, that's good. That gives us a bit of a sense of who we're dealing with here. So, Stephen, tell us about Titus.
So Titus is not a cat. Titus is a possum. And Titus's human was Mrs. Murdoch. Mrs. Murdoch left, dog food or cat food out on the back porch, presumably for animals. I thought it was for me. But every time I tried to come in the house like the other cats, she shouted, "Get out." So I thought that was my name for a long time. And I'm, completely feral. I live outside all the time. I live out in the woods. I think the 9 lives aspect, mechanically, I think I have 8 brothers and sisters. So whenever I do a 9 lives move, then whenever I come back, it's actually one of those brothers or sisters.
Okay. Okay.
Are we gonna do past lives?
Yeah, we're gonna do that. I want to introduce all the characters so that you can figure out who you want to have those connections to. So I want to go through and get the basic introductions first. And so, how did Titus end up as part of this colony then?
I think that'll come out in past lives. I think that he saved someone else in the colony.
Okay.
And that let them accept him.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And yeah, we'll find out more about that when we do the past life section. Okay, so Ellen, tell us about Bubastis.
Bubastis is a very regal, slinky grey cat who has delusions of grandeur, and her human, Professor Worthington, that taught classes of ancient history, and he undertook research in that. With all these books and ideas lying around, Bubastis took it upon herself to realize that she is an ancient god reincarnate. Whether or not that is true, we don't know. She carries around a puzzle box that was on her human's desk, and she has not yet cracked the code.
Okay, sounds good. And why did you join this colony?
Well, she abhors other creatures. They're just filthy. But she would really like to see these humans back doing what they need to do to properly respect and serve cats. So she is looking to garner some support to get humans back where they need to be.
Okay, sounds good. Hey, so Harry, tell us about Timmy.
I'm playing Timmy. Timmy is a very soft cat. He's got the nicest fur you're likely to find. And he is very curious. He wants to get into everything and climb on everything and balance on everything. Unfortunately, he's extremely clumsy as well. Even just walking across the grass, you can see he has kind of weird gait. Who knows what the story is behind that. Besides being soft, he looks like he's always dressed for a formal occasion. The white, you can't really see it in that picture, but he's got a really clear bow tie that he's always wearing and little white toes. His owner was Dr. Allen. Sounds like maybe Dr. Allen has something to do with Bubastis's owner. Dr. Allen was some sort of professor-y type. He never really paid much attention to me. He'd look up from his papers just long enough to open the window for me to go in or out, grudgingly put food out. So I mostly spent time outside looking for other cats. Notably, though, shortly before he disappeared, Dr. Allen was really busy, and I heard him get a phone call and collect a whole bunch of his papers and take off. And that was the last time I saw him. He left the door open. Probably I joined this group because I was lonely and looking for friends, and I heard this cry go out and went to see who was out there in the dark.
Okay. And Tyler, tell us about Churchill.
All right. Churchill is probably, he's an older cat, probably around 10. And he's been around the block. He's seen and done nearly everything a cat can do. And he has that certain air of someone who's able to handle himself, kind of a dashing look to him in his solid black fur. And he's pretty well muscled, even though he's getting a little older. His owner was Henry, who, in our house, people knew who was in charge, and that was Churchill. Henry made sure that things were put where they were supposed to for Churchill's pleasure, and it was a real surprise when Churchill woke up and he was gone. You just misplacing your human is almost embarrassing. But he probably came to the colony as early, right at the beginning of the call, because he likes being around other cats, and if Churchill wasn't there, they'd get themselves in terrible trouble.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so let's go around now that we've heard a bit about all of our characters here, and do the past lives that are on your sheets. So I think pretty much everybody has 2, except for 1 or 2 of you. So let's just kind of snake back and forth down the list here and read one of your past lives thing, and then decide who that connects to. Actually, before we start that, since this is just a one-shot and 9 lives is a lot of lives, can everybody mark themselves down to 6 lives? So you've each lost a few lives in the process of getting to where you are now. And then you'll potentially lose a few more as we're doing our past lives thing here. But then you'll have a few left over that you can use, as I said, if you ever get a result of 6 or less, and you don't want to accept the hard move that I might do to you, so you can spend one of your lives to go out in a blaze of glory there. So, all right. So let's start with Churchill. Tell us one of Churchill's past lives, and who do you think it connects you to there?
Alrighty. My past lives, first one there. You're streetwise and independent, but someone got you out of a jam you couldn't deal with on your own. Lose a life and ask them what happened. And I think Titus. I think that Titus helped me get out of a jam. What happened, Titus?
I think that there was some humans that were coming down the, coming into the colony or coming nearby the colony, and they were looking to loot in this area, and I had seen them with other animals in the area outside, and I made sure you avoided them, because while humans are nice and, some humans know their place, these are not those humans.
Excellent.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so next, Timmy. Tell us your first past life there.
All right, my past life is you saw someone doing something they shouldn't have. Tell them how it cost them a life. You got involved, you also lose a life. And I think that's going to be Chairman Meow. I was out traveling the neighborhood looking to get into trouble when I saw Chairman Meow disappear into the second floor window of a house. Obviously just going to visit the owner's bedroom, explore. But I'd been there before, and I knew that was a bad dog that lived in that house because I'd been chased out before. So when I saw Chairman Meow disappear into that window, I first tried calling to Chairman Meow, but he didn't respond. So I had to climb a tree and jump across to the sill, and I didn't actually make it. I got stuck and fell from the sill, but I got enough noise made that I distracted the dog, and Chairman Meow was able to escape with just some fur out of his tail.
Okay, so it sounds like you both lost a life in that that incident there. All right, so Bubastis, tell us about one of your past lives.
It doesn't matter what order we do them in, right?
No, you could do either of it because we're going to come back around and do the other one.
Cool.
So
all right. So this past life is also connected with Titus. Titus thinks they were left out because the people gave me favorable treatment. And then I need to explain how this unfair treatment cost them a life. So I think it was probably not in the early days of the apocalypse, and acid rain was a problem, and I'd already been trying to find a new human servant because Dr. Worthington was nowhere to be found, and I came across the food left out by Mrs. Murdoch, and then when the acid rain began, she ushered me into the house while at the same time cursing at our little Titus to get out because he's not coming in. And so probably acid rain. Sorry, little guy.
sounds good. And so instantly, this is Billy. This is my foster kitten. He may be showing up in the middle of our game from time to time because he has very sharp claws and he likes to climb up my leg. Okay. So how about Titus? Tell us about one of your past lives.
I earned my place in the colony by helping someone else. Explain how I lost a life in the process. So this was with Timmy. I think that there's a river nearby. Uh, okay, a creek, but to us it's a river. And I think that Timmy was trying to cross that river and got stuck as the water came up. And Titus climbed to the top of a tree that was on the bank, and it was an old rotten tree, and he used his weight to lean over, and the tree cracked and went, and came across so that Timmy could grab a hold and climb out. But Titus fell off into the river, but it's okay. He came back the next day.
Sounds good. Looks like Titus is she, but yeah.
I'm going to be interchangeable.
Oh, okay.
I looked it up because I have 9 lives, right? I looked it up.
Uh-huh.
Some marsupials, males have pouches as well. It's not that common, but yeah.
Okay, so you'll kind of alternate back and forth sometimes. Cool. All right, and so Chairman Meow, tell us about one of your past lives.
Yeah, so Titus had mentioned in his introduction that they helped out another cat, and it really cost them. Hi, Lou. And I have a past live that says, someone was your most ardent supporter. They lose a life. Explain how they paid the price for backing you. So I think that's something that makes sense for you, Titus.
Yeah, that sounds great. What do you think happened here?
I think that it was a territory dispute. We were fighting a little turf war over our convenience store. Is it a convenience store or a junkyard?
I think people wanted a junkyard, so we'll go with that.
Go with that. Yeah, we had to fight a turf war with some junkyard dogs, and I mean it took a few cats to fight up against dogs. And you were one heck of a scary cat. Haven't seen cats hiss like that, and play dead to make the dogs confused, so that other cats could make their attack, their surprise attack, while you were playing dead.
Okay. And so then let's snake back the other way to do the second past life. So Chairman Meow, go ahead and tell us about your other past life here.
Someone has dirt on you that didn't come out during the campaign. They tell you how your secrets cost them a life. So I'll just kind of leave this up first for anyone that wants to jump on it, I guess.
Okay.
Especially
who wants to have some dirt on the president?
I don't have a life taken off of me yet, right? For any of these bonds, these I tried to jot down any of the ones that had to do with me down here in the void. I should probably type up this one with Titus.
I've got an idea for dirt. Chairman Meow is an indoor cat. He might say that he can rough it on the streets, but I know an indoor when I see one.
I love it.
All right.
And so then
that cost you a life.
Yeah. How did that secret cost you a life? Or because it's both of my past lives have other people taking losing lives.
I reckon maybe I threatened to release this information, and maybe we brawled, and I ended up with an abscess that went funky and killed me.
All right, so I messed you up.
Okay.
You don't question the chairman.
Okay.
Endure, but feisty.
Ruling with an iron paw there. That sounds good. Okay. So Titus, tell us about your other past life.
My other past life is everyone knows there's something up with me, but only one member of the colony was rude enough to make an issue of it. Tell them how you taught them a lesson that cost them a life. And I think this was Bubastis. I think Bubastis was calling me out and was saying that she wasn't pretty enough to be a cat. She didn't know cat ways. It wasn't right. And I think late one evening, out in the middle of the dark, there was a whole group of Tituses that came after Bubastis. And that's how Bubastis lost a life.
Ew, so icky.
I like it. Okay, and so now Bubastis, what was your other past life here?
So I was an indoor cat. I didn't even go outside at night. I used a kitty litter tray. Someone taught me something important that is now part of my lessons. Lose a life and ask them how I learned the things the hard way before their lesson. I think Churchill taught me how to fight like a street cat, or like how to survive on the streets. And yeah, how did I get about before that lesson, Churchill?
I think that Churchill probably seeing that you weren't very good on the streets, that you really couldn't handle it, would take you patrolling around for generally it's for rats that were coming in to bother and steal from us and stuff like that. But every time we would find some, Churchill would sit back and make you go in first. And then if it looked like you couldn't handle it, he'd come help. But probably one of those times he was a little slow.
Are you saying that I got eaten by rats?
I'm saying you may have gotten nipped pretty badly and maybe caught a little something.
Okay. Okay, and so then the sneak playbook only has the one has life thing, so we'll wrap it up with Churchill. What was your other?
I actually have a little thing.
Okay.
It's not really it doesn't cost lives, but I was thinking probably when Timmy met Churchill, being a young and inexperienced but self-possessed cat, he followed Churchill around a lot because he liked you, Churchill, and had to kind of bat at me because I was just on your heels all the time. Finally, we've developed a peace between us, but I'm always like looking over my shoulder. What's Churchill doing? I want to do that.
Oh, I like that. That's cute.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so Churchill, give us your last of your past lives there.
Someone isn't up to my standards. You think they're soft and weak. Tell them how they lost a life. And I think that's probably Chairman Mao. I think that when Chairman Mao put out the call, Churchill is absolutely certain that if he hadn't have come along, that this would have all fallen apart. That if Church wasn't there, that it would be complete disaster. Church is the strong arm, and the way that a life was lost was we did have a territorial spat with some other cats, and when it came right down to it, Churchill didn't come in and save Chairman Mao and let him take that fall to teach him a lesson.
All right. Excellent. Okay, so I think this is, we've got a good idea of who our cats are and where they are. So why don't we take a 5-minute break? So come back at 15 past the hour, and we'll start up. So you can hit the bathroom, grab a drink, whatever you need to do, and I'll see you in about 5 minutes.
I sort of hated hitting it, Charles, there, but it seemed like all the rest of us had taken some hits before. So
yeah. Well, he had kind of invited that by saying, "Oh, I don't know if I've lost any lives so far." It's like,
No.
that's you're kind of inviting it.
It's a PBTA game. You don't play to win.
Yep. Okay. All right, so we're all good to go here. All right, so we're starting out in our junkyard habitat, and so first I want to find out a little bit more about this junkyard. So, the image I've got of it in my head is that it's in kind of an old industrial district, and so there's kind of a chain link fence around it, and there's just big piles of like junk, all the stuff that has gotten dumped here. And so my first question is for Churchill, because it sounds like this colony, despite being relatively new, has had some bad scrapes with rival cats and dogs at various points. So how do you keep your colony's home base here well defended? How do you make sure that that folks are going to be safe in your junkyard here?
And can I ask, just kind of to clarify, we're fairly anthropomorphized, right?
You can. Yeah, I should clarify. You can talk to other cats just like you would, just imagine you have a fully functional language. You can talk to other cats, and you can communicate somewhat with other animals. So if you run into some dogs or something, but you can't have like a conversation with humans.
Right.
You can communicate, like, obviously if you're like arching your back and hissing and stuff, the humans know that's a bad sign and so forth. But you can't hold like a conversation.
Posters and the cigar and all those sorts of things.
Yeah. Okay. And so you can. Yeah, we'll kind of again hand wave the fact that you don't have opposable thumbs, but
cool.
You can make posters and you can smoke a cigar and you can wear a hat and all those kind of things.
Okay, then I think probably I like the idea that maybe we were having difficulties with all of these rivals as we came to the junkyard, and so once we knew it better, we've set it up where there are like deadfalls for people who come at us, and we've sort of secured where we have our dens in a more centralized area where we have good line of sight, and people would have to climb over stuff to get to us. So so that we have kind of fortified our little area in the middle there.
Okay.
Most importantly, being cats, we're at the highest pile of the junkyard. We're on that one.
Okay. Sounds good. And
we've got the high ground.
Awesome. And so that actually leads into the next question I had was for Chairman Meow, is how do you keep order among the cats that live in the colony here? What kind of a government system have you set up?
You really have to ask.
Well, I'd like to hear you tell us about it a bit.
Well, clearly, kitty communism is the way to go, and in a small group, in a small setting, and in a fantasy land of cats, it somehow works. We share the spoils of a kill and seek out, and if some useful trinket or toy comes our way, we try to evenly distribute it and to whoever could make the best use of it. But yes, the rather obviously the style of government Chairman Meow has installed is communism.
Okay, and so Bubastis, it sounds like you have kind of a condescending view of humans, but you're living on top of a gigantic pile of human refuse. So tell me about what you've found here at the junkyard that you think kind of proves your point about humans being suited to serve cats' needs in that way?
Well, clearly, as the humans were on the way out, they saw fit to create this city, or junkyard as you call it, for us to maintain some level of civilization. To be honest, humans have learnt everything they know from cats. Cats have been around for much, much longer than these mere humans.
Okay. Okay, and Titus, tell me about what are you doing? You know, so you're not a cat, but you're living in the cat colony. So what have you been doing to kind of try to fit in with the cats here?
So I'm quite dexterous. So what I've been doing is I've been helping with the fortifications around, making sure that the wire fence has, is weaved correctly. I'm also helping with the living situation. So we're living up high in this mound of debris, and I fortify it. I put things in place and I make sure it's well balanced. Can't see great, but I have a good sense of smell and a good sense of touch, and I can see kind of where things are.
Okay. Awesome. And Timmy, as the sneakiest cat here, tell me something that you've found out about the junkyard that nobody else in the colony knows about yet.
Well, there are some raccoons that live over in one corner of the junkyard. Okay. And they have collected some delicacies. And I have not told anyone because I know that Chairman Mao would, if he got his hands on them, he would distribute them evenly, and I want them for myself.
Okay. Have you partaken of these delicacies yet?
No, I talked to the raccoons though,
okay,
and kind of tried to make friends with them, and they're sort of, they've shown me the delicacies, and they're sort of holding up. Maybe if you do something for us, we could do some of this.
Okay, nice. Okay, good. Now I have a better sense of our junkyard habitat here. So we're gonna start off. It is a kind of early fall kind of night, and we're in kind of a mid-latitude area, so it's a little brisk but not like cold out, and it's just starting to get a little bit dark, right? Not to the point where it's an issue for cats yet, because of course you have your glow-in-the-dark eyes as cats. Sorry, Titus. But the sun is starting to dip down, and you hear from off in the distance the unmistakable sound of kittens meowing. So which of you do you think would be the first to hear this sound? It's a faint kitten meow coming from some distance away.
It could be Timmy.
Okay, let's go with that. Timmy, you hear the faint meowing of kittens. What do you do?
Well, first I climb up sort of on one of the piles of junk, like a washing machine or something, and I stretch out my body and perk up my ears and listen. I'm hearing, it's just kittens. I don't hear an adult cat. I get a little closer.
Yeah, all you hear right now is kittens. It sounds like probably more than one, but not quite distinct enough to make out individual voices there.
Well, I would look around and see if any of my cat friends are around. Maybe I
Okay.
see Churchill.
You certainly could, yeah.
Yeah, go with that.
All right. I would sort of just give some body language that hey, there's something interesting, and then I'd disappear as I.
Yeah, and remember, you can talk to each other, right? If you want to say something, like in words, you could. You don't have to, but just.
I'm channeling Cat right now.
Okay.
Timmy is, he's feralish.
And you're being a
Okay.
bit sneaky too.
Yep.
So I imagine Churchill is, I've kind of imagined he's a little deaf being at his age. So he probably hasn't heard the kittens, but seeing Timmy go running off, he probably goes, oh, goodness gracious. And he'll go slinking off behind, figuring, oh, Lord, what is this cat getting himself into trouble now?
Okay, and so how about the others of you? Are you around? Have you seen this little interaction go down?
I'm cleaning my fur, and I look up, and then I go back to cleaning my fur.
I think Titus actually sees, or doesn't see, but hears this whole commotion as people are leaving, and probably gives it a little bit of time, and then follows along behind.
Okay.
Yeah, I was taking a nap, but cat senses, being what they are, usually got wind for when if Churchill is moving, something must be going down. So I'd better follow him.
Okay. And so, Timmy, where are you off to?
Well, I'm heading toward the mewing, but
Okay.
I'd never go
following this
straight there. I kind of going around the edge and finding good hiding spots.
Yeah.
Spying.
So it's definitely coming from outside the junkyard, and in fact, there's a street outside that the junkyard is kind of off of, and a short distance down, a few buildings down the street, there's a stream, and there's a bridge over it. The street goes over the stream, and it sounds like it's roughly that area that this mewing seems to be coming from.
Do we pretty much stick to the junkyard area? Is it dangerous to leave?
I mean, there's danger if you leave, but there's nothing there's no enemies sitting out there waiting for you.
Right.
As soon as you leave, kind of thing. There's potential dangers if you were to leave the junkyard. There's potential dangers if you stay. But you at least have definitely determined that this mewing is coming from outside the junkyard.
Okay, let's get the other players involved. So I will stop at the edge of the junkyard and wait for Churchill to catch up. And when Churchill gets there, can you hear it? There are kittens out there. There are cats, Churchill.
What, lad? I don't hear anything. What are you talking about?
There are kittens out there, I said. And my eyes are all big.
Kittens?
When was the last time you heard kittens, Churchill?
Well, it's been quite a while since we've had a litter here. Are you sure? I don't hear a thing. And I'll kind of put my paw behind my ear, and I'm straining out there to listen. Oh, maybe I do hear a little something. And I'll look back towards where I probably can see the other two following. I suppose we should wait for them.
I don't hear any other cats, though. I don't know where their mama is.
Well, And I guess as Titus starts moving up, Titus, my ears aren't what they used to be. Did you hear something? Timmy says he hears something.
And Titus is, you know, kind of waddles up and puts her nose in the air, and I smell something. It's down by the creek, and I hear kittens. I hear kittens.
Oh, well, good job, lad. You were right, Timmy. Well, we should probably go and check it out. Oh, Chairman.
Yes, yes. Of course there's kittens. You couldn't hear them?
Well, I think I picked them up eventually.
Kind of mutters, must be getting old boy.
And I can't hear it. So I guess we'll head.
Can't wait for Bestus. Let's go.
Bubastis, are you coming along here? Or are you gonna?
Yeah, I probably
the...
realize that I'm all alone in this like scary junkyard and like trail down. They probably don't see me, but I'm just slinking behind them in the shadows.
Okay, so you know it's like I said, it's clear it's coming from down by that bridge, and so you know as you leave the junkyard. There's no sign of anyone else around, no human, you know, no smells of any other animals going by recently, aside from, you know, the kittens that you can hear. So you can essentially approach this bridge without any trouble. And it's, you know, since this is kind of an old industrial area, the stream it's one of those where they like channelized it. So it's got these kind of steep stone walls to it, and then the water in the bottom, and there's like a few big rocks down in there. And as you approach the edge, you see that there is a cardboard box that has been taped shut and dumped into the stream. It's kind of laying on one of the rocks there, and that is where the kitten meowing is coming from. Someone has tossed a box of unwanted kittens into the stream there.
So Titus springs into action, and as soon as someone says that box is full of kittens, Titus, you know, says, "Well, that's no good." And she kind of gathers up, you know, a stick that's nearby in her prehensile hand, and goes over to the bridge and hangs down from the bridge, trying to reach where the box would be, and wants to actually try and pry the top of the box open so the kittens can get out.
Okay, so we're gonna get to roll the dice for the first time here. So that sounds like that's probably your special move. Show them how it's done.
Yeah, I think so.
And so the attitude here, so you're trying to save these kittens. So that's going to be add your lover stat here. So you got to roll the dice and add a +1.
Okay. I got a 9 on the dice, +1 is a 10.
10. All right. So on a 10+, you succeed and teach the members of the colony your secret. And you should make a note. You're going to get a +1 to the next time you roll domestic or lover.
Okay.
All right. So describe how you do this here.
Yeah. So I think what this looks like is the stick is just long enough to reach to the box, and you see Titus deftly puts the stick right under the edge of the tape, and then pulls it up. And the box kind of can now flop open. Okay. This is the secret that the other cats see, is that tape is easy to remove. It doesn't stick to your paws if you use something else.
Okay.
And it can be pulled up this way.
Okay, excellent. So you tear the top open on that box, and flops open, and you see 3 little kitten heads poke up from there. They are, we're going to say there's an orange one, a white one, and a gray one in there. And they pick up their heads and they're meowing, and now that the box is open, you can hear that what they're actually saying. They're just saying, help us, help us, help us. Because they're still in the box and still down in the stream. Though the top is open, and one of them, I'll say the gray one, kind of pokes over the edge and like sticks his paw down and like touches the water and goes, ooh, and yanks it back, because they're kind of stuck on one of the big rocks in the stream, but the water's kind of going around to either side of them there. So how about the rest of you? What is your feeling or your approach to this situation now that Titus has opened the box?
I think Churchill is going to kind of stalk over. What ho there? Are you all right?
Just help us, help us. We're stuck in this box down here.
Is there an easy way to get to it? Or is it like in the middle of the creek?
It's kind of in the middle. The walls of the creek are kind of made out of stone, so that, they're rough. You can kind of climb on them. You could hop from rock to rock. So if you want to go down to where they are, I just have you roll on the jump, pounce, run move, and you'd be able to kind of hop from rock to ledge to rock and get down to where they are. There's enough room, the rock that they're kind of stuck on, there's enough room for like a cat to sit down there with them.
Yeah, I'll hop over and hand them. Chairman, would you retrieve them as I pass them along?
Why does it need to be that complicated? Can't we each just take one?
Of course, Chairman. After you.
There's danger in the passing, We don't want to drop them. So, sure, you go ahead. Take the first one. Get on out of here.
All right, then. And I will gingerly jump from rock to rock to get over. Don't worry, young kid. I've got you now.
Okay, well, so you need to roll the dice here on the jump, pounce, run move. And again, it sounds like since you're working at saving some kittens, you'll roll with your lover, what is your, so you get a +1 to that. So roll and add +1.
I roll boxcars.
Oh, no. All right.
That's a 12.
Awesome.
13. Okay.
So you can pick either bystanders are impressed and help you out. So there'd be somebody that saw you do that besides those of you that are, besides the player characters, and will help you some way. Or anyone with you gets +1 to following in your paw prints. So anybody else trying to do the same thing would get a +1 when they rolled. So
I think I'll probably help everyone out by giving that +1. Okay,
good. So anybody else that tries to jump down to retrieve a kitten gets a +1. So which of the 3 kittens did you describe how you got down there, how you got back, and which kitten you brought with you?
Yeah, I think that we get that sort of, like you talked about the mountain lion sort of thing. We get Churchill kind of catching edge of the bridge, hit the rocks at the bottom, leap over to where it is, rock nearby. And I imagine that one that's been clawing at the top of the box, Churchill will sort of lean down and get him moved up and get him by the scruff of the neck. Don't worry, young man, it'll be quite all right. It's going to be fine. And hop back and just back up the side, putting it down. Yeah, awesome. There you go.
Well, 1 kitten rescued there. Who's going next?
Timmy is so anxious to follow in your footsteps, Churchill, that he actually kind of gets in your way a little bit on the way up. But yeah, Timmy goes down there trying to do the same jumping from step to step and slips a little bit on one of them, but catches himself.
All right, well, let's roll the dice for it and see how well Timmy does. So you get +1 from your lover stat and the +1 from Churchill's success there. So what did you get?
So I rolled a 7 plus 2 is 9.
All right, so on a 7 to 9, you make it, but pick one. So the two options you can pick from: you break or lose something important, or you end up in the wrong place.
Oh, I slipped. I'm in the water.
Okay.
I ended up in the wrong place.
Okay. Yeah. So you, I'm going to say you get down there and you pick up one of the kittens, and it's on the way back that you slip in the water and you end up. There is the stream is actually kind of like a Y shape, and the bridge crosses like right at the right on the stem of the Y. And so you ended up actually jumping onto the part that's between the branches of the Y, the one part that the bridge doesn't go to. And so you're up there and you're safe, but you're not connected by that bridge. But you've got a kitten with you.
Okay, so I'm not in the water.
You're not in the water. No, you slipped in the water, and in the process of scrambling out, you ended up climbing up the wrong side of the stream, and now you're on the Y part that the bridge doesn't connect to.
Right.
So, what is everyone else doing? We've got one kitten fully rescued, one kitten rescued but in the wrong spot. What is everybody else doing?
I'll raise an eyebrow and look over at Chairman Mao as this is going on.
I was going to. Timmy was just so excited. I got this. So I will go ahead and roll mine.
Okay, you're going after the third kitten there?
Yep.
Okay.
Here, I'll
So
her,
you
name is
your +1 and another +1 on that.
+2s. All right, great.
Yep.
Let's do that. Let's go ahead. Okay. 11.
All right.
Oh,
So
all right.
you got it there. So again, you can pick either bystanders are impressed and help you out, or anyone with you gets +1 to following you.
Let's go with the bystander one to maybe get some kind of creative assistance with getting me back to safety.
Okay.
If I can throw out a suggestion, like
go for it.
Another human, like with a long stick or a pole, could drop it down and let him get back. But
sure, yeah. Let's bring some humans into this here. So yeah, as you're all working on trying to save these kittens, a human comes running down, and it's we're gonna say it's a little girl. She looks like she's maybe like 9 years old. And she comes running down, and she's yelling. You don't understand human language, but you do recognize there's a word she's saying that you hear humans saying to cats a lot, and it probably means cat or kitten, because you've heard it's the word humans always squeal when they see a cat and get excited. So she comes running down. She's got like a stick with her that she's been like playing with, and so she comes down to the edge of the bridge there, and she looks over and she sees you there, and she has kind of reached down with the stick, and you're able to like grab on it and get up, and she like catches you and sets you and that kitten down on the bridge. And so we've now got 4 cats and 2 kittens on the bridge. with a human girl who is real excited to see some kitties, and she's reaching out to try to pet all of you. So what do you make of all of this?
So when the human girl comes running up and squealing, Titus curls up and lays down and just stays still.
I'm playing dead. She actually reaches out and pets Titus first, and a tone of her voice is like, "What is this?" But then she reaches to pet some of the other cats as well.
Bubastis slinks out of the shadows and like gracefully walks in front of this little girl's line of sight and sits and licks a paw and then raises her head and says, "Take me to your superior humans," but I'm sure the girl's just hearing meow, meow.
Yeah. She reaches out and like pats you on the head.
That's what hit her hand.
Yeah. And how about the chairman and Churchill?
I'm going to hope that she has food and act adorably to try to win her over.
Okay. So if you want to
set the
act adorably to win her over, there is a move for that.
Those beans.
Show those beans. Yeah. So why don't you roll that? And so this would be domestic, because you are appealing to the positive side of a human. So you won't get a bonus on it, but I'll mark off one domestic roll that's been made. So go ahead and roll and tell me what you got.
7 + 1. So I have an 8.
Oh no, so it's the 7 plus nothing, because your colony's domestic is at 0 right now.
Okay.
But I mean, that wouldn't make a difference because 7 and 8 get the same result. But
wait, so the colony's domestic is 0, but okay. And unless I invoked my toy,
yeah,
it wouldn't be a big
deal. I mean, I'd let you retcon that in if it was going to make a difference mechanically. Because you're supposed to say that you invoked the toy, ahead of time, but you'd end up in the same bracket. So the show those beans. When you act adorably to win someone over on a 7 to 9, they choose one from, so first name what you want from them. So you want some food, it sounds like. So they choose one from the above and tell you what you would have to give them or do for them in return. So she actually has with her, what should she have with her? She's just got a handful of like kibble. Like she's just clutching it in the other. She had the stick in the one hand. She had this handful of kibble in the other hand, and she will give it to you if you let her pet your belly. If you flop down and let her pet your belly, she will give you that kibble.
Yeah, no problem.
You can do that? Okay. Awesome. So yeah, she lays the kibble down near where you can get to it, and she's rubbing your belly now with both hands, and she's kind of cooing at you.
So at the smell of kibble, I think Titus starts to stir a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
As she's distracted petting the belly, he might try and sneak in there a little bit.
Yeah. And grab a bite. Yeah. How about Timmy? You're stuck on that little like island thing, and you can see well enough to see all this going down. What are you?
I'm out here wet, holding a little orange kitten, and everyone's getting petted and getting food. This isn't fair. I'm meowing. I'm meowing really loudly and sadly, trying to get someone's attention.
Okay. So whose attention are you trying to get? The other cats or
I guess
the girl?
the girl's got the pets and the food, so the girl.
Okay. So that sounds like that's another show those beans if you want her to pay
Showing the
attention
beans,
to.
yeah. I'm showing the pathetic big-eyed beans.
Yeah, yeah. So go ahead and
Um,
roll.
I'm a dashing rogue, so I've got a +1.
Okay, so you got a +1 to that.
So I rolled a 7 +1.
One.
I'm doing it as a lover?
Domestic, because as you're appealing to a human.
Okay.
Yeah, so lover would be if you were
All
trying
right.
to win over another cat. Or sorry, lover. Yeah, lover would be if you were trying to win over another cat. Domestic is if you're trying to win over a human.
Okay. All right, so it's 7 +1 is 8.
Okay.
I should look at the thing.
So they will. So what you want from her is for her to basically rescue you from over there.
Yes, come and get me. I'm a cute little kitty. I've got a little orange kitten.
Okay. So she will do that. So she hears you over there. And there's actually a little farther up from where you were, there's another bridge that connects to that little island thing. And so you can see that she is running towards that bridge now that she's seen that you're over there. She's kind of leaving the other cats alone because she sees that you are stranded over there. And so she comes running over and she reaches down, but she reaches not first for you, but for the kitten. And so it's clear that she wants you to let her take the kitten first, and then she'll help bring you over to safety, or back to the mainland. Will you?
Okay, I will.
Will you take the deal?
Hold the
Trade
kitten. I'll scruff the kitten and hold the kitten up so she can.
Okay, so she takes the kitten from you, and then she kind of leads you back to where that other bridge is, and starts to come back around to where all the other cats are, and the rest of, excuse me. The rest of you can see, the kittens were initially kind of in shock, right? From they got taped in this box and dumped in the stream, and then they got rescued, and then this human came along. They were a little bit in shock and stuff. But now that they're, have gotten their wits about them a little bit, the others of you can see that they seem to be trying to hide from this little girl. They don't seem to be so excited that she's come to pet them. And as the girl comes back around, you hear an adult human yelling from kind of farther down the street. You hear an adult human, kind of angry voice, and the girl stops and she turns back that way and she yells something back, and the adult yells again. And she turns to all the rest of you and says something in an apologetic kind of tone, and then she runs off back towards where the adult was yelling for her, taking that little orange kitten with her.
Oh no.
I walk briskly towards the adult voice, and I would like to impress upon the human the superior nature of my cattery.
Okay. So you're just going to follow where she went? So as you start to do that, the two remaining kittens, the white one and the gray one, start to yell, "Don't go there! Don't go! They're bad people! They're bad people! Don't go!"
What would you know, you little scruffy runts? You wouldn't know a human if one fed you sardines.
The gray one says, "Those are the people that put us in the box."
That little girl put you in a box?
No, the big people put us in the box.
Oh, dear.
Clearly, you're inferior creatures. And I continue following the human.
Sounds like we gotta fuck them up.
I have to agree with you, Chairman. That doesn't seem at all the right sort of human to have around here.
Timmy's head is going back and forth between the kibble scraps on the far bridge and the little orange kitten disappearing into the distance, along with Bubastis. And finally, he decides to run after Bubastis.
And Titus is wolfing down the last of the kibble on the bridge.
Okay. So Timmy and Bubastis, since you're following along with this girl, you see her. She goes, another few buildings down, and there is a house there. And this is a house that, when you all had explored this area before, as you were eventually finding your way to the junkyard, this house, when you saw it before, had been abandoned. There had been no one living there. The door was kind of hanging off its hinges. You might have gone inside and poked around a little bit, but it had clearly been abandoned. But now, you get there just as the little girl is running in, and you see an older human open the door for her and slam it shut after her. And the house has clearly been fixed up a little. It's no longer totally falling apart. The door clearly works now, and there's some lights on inside the house. So there are people living in this house now.
Well, clearly I should just scratch on the front door and it will open. That's what normally happens.
Yeah, so you're just gonna scratch on the door to try to get somebody to open it?
Well, yeah. That's how
Okay.
doors work.
That's how doors work, right?
That's how doors work, yeah. So that sounds like another show those beans. Or actually, this might be, I think this actually fits the knock stuff over move.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, because you're trying to operate a human technology. So your desired outcome is for the door to open at your scratching. And so would you, so this is a domestic roll. So you don't get a bonus from that, but.
All right, I got 9.
You got a 9, okay. So on a 7 to 9, it works, but you broke or lost something important in the process. Okay, let me think what would be a good thing to break or lose.
I have an idea.
Yeah, go ahead and throw it out.
Well, what Timmy's train of thought was, if they're kittens, there must be a mom cat around somewhere. So Timmy was looking around for the smell, trying to track where their mom was, assuming she may be in this house and maybe had a way in and out. And maybe that's what somehow Bubastis screwed up.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So you're scratching at the door, and you get the attention of actually of the little girl again. So the door opens just slightly, and her head pokes out, and her eyes get really big. She's like, she's like, oh my gosh, one of those kitties from before is here. and she opens it enough that you can get inside. But then she, as soon as I assume you're going to enter when it opens, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so you slink through, and she closes it right after you, and you hear her turn the deadbolt and click the door. So the door will no longer be opening for anybody. You managed to let yourself inside, but that's not going to be a feasible solution for anybody else who wants to get into this house right now.
I don't really care about the rest of them.
Right, but they might care. Right, you broke something for somebody else. Okay, so Bubastis made it inside. Timmy was sniffing around outside, trying to find out a little more about whatever adult cat must be around. How about the other three of you? What have you been doing since the little girl got yelled at by presumably her parents and ran off?
I know that the way to win over humans' hearts is usually to bring them gifts. And so, I mean, it is nighttime, and I noticed there was a door there, and so I know.
Okay, so you have all the rest of you come to the house as well?
I was at least headed in that direction, yeah.
I think I did too.
With how strong of an intent to mess up the humans, I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe we can win more flies with honey than vinegar.
Okay.
And whenever Churchill heads off, Titus kind of waddles her way up there too.
Okay. Yeah, and then those other two kittens are kind of cautiously following along behind, and occasionally saying, "Don't do it! Don't do it!"
Yeah, I made sure to at least enjoy some of the kibble that she left, and told the kittens to have their fill if they hadn't. But then, yeah, we'll be at the house, and the kittens should be all right for now, as long as they're not stuck in a box.
Yeah, it'll be kind of a stay back, but we have to go and get your brother, sister.
Okay. So you approach this house, and maybe just in time to hear the door lock behind Bubastis. So what are you going to do? How are you going to approach this? You can see there's a light on inside. It's now gotten fairly dark, but you can see there's a light on inside. You can hear a little bit of noises from humans moving around in there. Occasionally walk past the light and stuff. How are you going to approach this situation?
I suppose I'll look with Timmy there if I see Tim. Did Bubastis go in there?
Yeah, they let her in. I don't know why they chose to let her in and lock the rest of us out.
How about I give you a boost and you look in the window?
Okay, Churchill. I'll climb on your back.
I'll help Timmy get up to where he can look in the window.
Okay. So I think I'll just, this, we don't need to roll anything for this, that you can boost Timmy up to look in the window. And so this is the window that looks into, so this house, it's not very big. And so there's a living room, and it connects right into the dining room. There's not a full wall in between it. And there is a table there, and there are two adult humans. We'll say that they are two men. One of them is kind of skinnier. The other one is a little heavier, so that we can distinguish them. They've both got kind of scraggly beards, like they haven't had access to a lot of opportunities for grooming lately. do the whole apocalypse thing. They're both dressed in kind of, their clothes are a little bit dirty and raggedy looking because, again, they've been surviving the apocalypse. And so one of them sets this a pot down on the table, and it's got a little bit of steam coming off of it. And so this was, we'll say this is the heavier of these two men. And he, yells something in human, and the little girl yells back to him. And so she had been, she had just let Bubastis in. And so there's an old couch here in the living room near the door. And she, she's got the kitten, and she puts the kitten behind the couch, and Bubastis, she kind of like pushes you behind the couch, and Timmy can kind of see this happening. So she's kind of trying to shove you behind the couch, and then she's going to run over to the table where dinner is apparently being served. So, Bubastis, are you going to allow yourself to be put behind the couch?
Well, I think that she must be directing me to some great feast behind the couch. I sniff around, and it's just a regular old couch behind there, I'm guessing. So
yeah, unless you want to roll to try to find something.
No,
there.
I'm not that keen to do that. I'd much prefer to make my presence known in the kitchen and demand for my seat at the table.
Okay. Well, so Timmy, as you're watching this go on, you see these two guys sit down at the table, and the little girl comes over to the table as well. And then you see a cat pop up, a cat that you have never seen before. It is a kind of a black and white cat, sort of like with black ears and like black around one eye and some black splotches on its back and so forth. And this cat is also extremely thin. Like, you can see the cat's ribs sticking out, and this cat jumps up onto the table and sticks out her nose towards this this pot that's got something cooking in it. And the one man, the heavier man, yells something and grabs this cat by the leg, not even doing a good scruff thing, grabs it by the leg and just throws it across the room. And the little girl yells something, and he yells and points at her to, essentially sounds like he's trying to tell her to shut up and sit down. And he gets a ladle and scoops some sort of a thin stew out of the pot into a dish in front of each of them. And you hear this, this strange cat kind of squeal a little bit as she gets flung across the room by this guy. And so, Bubastis, from your point of view, you can't see it all, but you certainly hear the yelling, and you hear the clear squeal of a cat in pain. And
clearly
then
this isn't some inferior feline. Clearly.
Are you saying that out loud?
I'm muttering it. And,
okay, because the kitten that's with you, pokes you with its claw. Not enough to hurt really, but enough to get your attention. And so, don't say that. That's my mom.
Oh, I should have known. I think once these humans are witness to what a feline is destined to be, they will grovel at my paws, as they should. And Bubastis walks strongly into the kitchen and leaps upon the kitchen table and begins to convey the seriousness of the situation to the humans. I apologize for your previous experience with inferior creatures, but you need no longer fear. I am the superior feline that you may worship. And meow, meow,
Okay.
meow, 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 meow.
Okay, so I'm fine with you coming out and jumping up on the table, but if you want to avoid getting flung across the room, as happened to the kitten's mother here, I'll need you to roll jump, pounce, run, and this sounds pretty feral, given the context of what you're trying to communicate to these humans. So the feral currently is at 1.
I rolled a 9 again.
Okay. Is that with the +1 feral?
No, so 10.
Okay, so you're at 10. Okay, so you are going to succeed. So they're not going to be able to grab you. And so you get to pick either bystanders, which would be the human family here, are left dumbfounded and confused, or anyone else gets a +1 if they want to try to do likewise.
Let's say the humans are confused.
Okay. Yeah, so you jump up on there, and like the little girl is excited because, hey, you know, it's another cat. She let you into. She looks like a little like worried and shocked at first when you first jump up on there, but you go meow 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 meow, and you're clearly a lot more energetic than this other cat, and so she like you see the hearts in her eyes, and the two guys, the one guy starts to reach for you, and he like, it looks like he realized, wait a minute, this is not our cat, and he looks over to the other guy, and the other guy's like, ah, and they both look at the little girl, and you know, they can see she's so excited here. So while this is all going on, what are those of you outside doing? You know, Timmy's been observing this situation.
Yeah, Churchill feels my claws in his back as I see this cat get flung across the room, and I come down. Churchill, Chairman, we've got to get in there. They're being mean to those cats, and Bubastis is stuck. I think I'm running around the building looking for an entrance, sniffing.
Okay, so if you want to sniff around for a alternative entrance, that sounds like a sing the song of your people.
Wow.
And so in terms of the attitude here, since you're going on a rescue mission, that sounds feral. So roll and then add a 1 for your current feral rating. And I'll get to 2.
All right. I've got an 8 plus 1 is 9.
9. All right. So on a 7 to 9, you pick one of the above. So you can pick either you recall a human weakness or vulnerability that you can exploit, you recall where you can find something useful, or you could shift the colony's feral versus domestic attitude by 1.
Right. I remember that my owner, Dr. Allen, often slept with a window cracked open. So
Okay.
I remember that there might be a window that I could slip into, or that we could slip into.
Okay. Yeah, so you sneak around the back and you're looking around, and there is in fact a window that's left open a crack. The room that it leads into looks dark. Nobody's got a light on or anything in there, but you can see with your feline night vision that this window is open just enough. It's one of those things. It's like if a person looked at it, they wouldn't think a cat could fit through there, but that you really can. Squeeze through that, and there's we'll say there's like an old barrel or something next to the side of the house that you can jump up on to get through there. So you can get in through that window. Well, let's see, the cost associated with doing that is that you don't know what you're going to land on the other side, because the room is dark, and with the glass and everything, you're not able to actually see into the room, so you have no idea what you're going to land on when you jump in there. So you're kind of flying blind if you jump in through this window, but there is the cracked window there.
Timmy would definitely jump in there.
All right, you're gonna hop on in. So you jump in through this window, and you land on. So this window was leading into kind of a garage workspace kind of area. And so you jump in through this window and you land on a shelf that had a whole bunch of jars of nails and screws and little fittings and stuff. And you knock several of those over and kind of land a little rough on all of the nails, and get a little poked up.
Sounds like Timmy. And it makes a big noise.
And it makes a big noise. Yep. So you've kind of made a bit of a crash there. So Bubastis is inside, meowing on the table. Timmy just jumped through that window. How about the other three of you? And you have a better idea of what's on the other side of that window now, too, now that Timmy has found out the hard way.
Yeah, hearing crashing and cats squealing inside from being thrown around. I know it's a long shot to try to impress them with my hunting skills, but I'll still just kind of go for it as a sort of a plan B or a contingency plan. So I want to hunt for something here, like a bird or some small mammal, a rodent, a rat, or something, and present it to them as food. I don't necessarily know that they're poor and starving, but I do know that this is how we win the humans' affection, right?
Okay. So you wanna find some prey to capture. Trying to think what move fits that the best. Why don't we just have you do a claws out with no attitude bonus, since you're attacking. We'll say there's enough like junk and stuff back here behind the house that there's probably some rats around if you sniff around and try to pounce on one.
I'll try and angle for a jump, pounce, run.
Okay. I think that we could do it that way too. Yeah.
It's also, its options are a little bit kind of more
towards what you're trying to do. Okay. Well, go ahead and roll jump, pounce, run, and roll it flat. This isn't about cats or humans at the moment. Well, actually, no. why don't you roll it with domestic, because you're trying to impress people with your kill there. So we'll call that a domestic.
Well, that'll be a 0 then.
That's still no bonus, but we get to tick up the domestic counter one more.
Right. And I don't see how a food dish would help me here.
Well, no, it's the idea. You're not necessarily physically using it to help you. It may just be that, you know, thinking about your food dish, like, you know, gives you moral support and inspires you to do better. So you could absolutely invoke that if you wanted.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it does have to do with food. So I'm envisioning,
I think
envision your goal, and I'm picturing my goal
exactly
with this
exactly.
juicy cat.
All right.
Apparently another 7.
Okay, that's with the bonuses?
Yep, plus 1.
Bonus. Okay.
May have mattered.
All right. So you make it, but you're either going to end up in the wrong place or you're going to break or lose something important. Which would you like to do?
End up in the wrong place. Seems like it might make sense here.
Okay. Yeah, so you go after, there's some rats around, and you see one, and you pounce on it, and it's kind of an impressive pounce, and you grab it, and you're like rolling with it, and so there's actually a second window that's slightly ajar that is a little farther around the house, so Timmy hadn't gotten to it yet when he decided to jump in that one. And it's one of those really low down basement windows, but that's also open a crack. And so you actually fall through that into the basement. And you,
rather than it just being open, like just crash through the glass.
Okay, yeah, you crash through the glass into the basement. And you land on a pile of laundry that's sitting down in the basement. So you at least have something to cushion your fall. But it's one of those windows that is way high up on the wall in the basement. So you fall down from that with this now dead rat in your claws. Okay, so we got 3 cats in the house. How about
Titus? It would seem that we're being left out here in the cold, but I'm a little concerned that this might not be the very best idea to just go falling through windows.
And one of the little kittens says, no, it's not the best idea.
Yeah, I mean, that is a problem. So Titus is actually going to scramble up to the windowsill where Timmy disappeared to. And okay. Titus is way too big to fit under that little crack. But he can kind of wedge an elbow or a shoulder underneath and kind of start lifting it up.
Push it up. Okay.
And trying to make enough space for Churchill to get through comfortably. So.
Yeah, and I'll leap up to the sill and sort of look around in there. Timmy, are you all right?
Sorry about that. Can you?
You're blinking a little on us.
Sorry about that. Flailing at buttons. Yes, I'm right here. Come on in. It's safe.
I'll cut my eyes over towards Titus and, looking around. I suppose we can at least go and check things out. Where do you suppose Chairman's gotten to?
I heard some noise. I'm sure that Chairman Mao can take care of himself.
Yes,
so Titus is going to wander around and look around. Is there an entryway from here into the main area of the house?
From the room you're in, there looks to be, so once you're inside, you can see a little bit better what's going on. There's a little bit of moonlight coming in through that window. And yeah, there's a door that looks to be slightly ajar that seems to lead in the right direction.
So I think I'll be like, Churchill, over here. Timmy, let's go through here.
Okay. So if you go through that door, there's kind of a long hallway, and at the end of it, you can see some light. It seems to, the end of it goes into that main room where all the other goings on were happening. And you can now hear the human voices, and they seem to be debating something. So Bubastis has managed to neutralize their desire to be violent towards her, at least for the moment, and they're debating in human what to do, because the little girl is clearly real excited about having another cat in the house, but the two adults don't seem to be real keen on the idea.
And we smell food in that direction. And where's the hurt cat?
So you don't know yet.
Okay.
You can't hear her right now. You could go looking for her if you'd like.
So that's what Titus is going to do. Is Titus is going to waddle down the hallway and go looking for where the hurt cat would have landed.
Okay. So I think that so as you're not investigating human stuff, so this wouldn't be a knock stuff over. But I think we could call this we could use the sniff a butt move to see, figure out what's going on with this.
Perfect.
This
And
cat
what do
that
you want me
lives
to roll
here.
with?
So since you are seeking out another cat, that would be lover.
I rolled
your
a
own.
4.
You rolled a 4. Okay. And so your lover is +1. That's 5. That doesn't quite get you there.
That's with my lover. Yeah.
Oh, that's with your lover was 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that doesn't quite get you there. So
can I roll you meant to do that?
Yeah. So I think what we should do is let me kind of explain why he's failing, and then you can do you meant to do that to turn that failure into a sort of success. So you do get to mark 1 experience for the failed roll there. Yeah, so you go looking for Mama Cat, and so you're trying to follow her scent, and it's just kind of leading you around in circles because she's been all over this place, and you don't know where she's, so her scent is everywhere. And I'm kind of envisioning, because there's that hallway. So I'm envisioning one of those scenes in like the cartoon where you like run across and then you come across from a different door and then you come across from a different door, one of those kind of things. And it's just kind of leading you on this wild goose chase, and you can't figure out where she's going. And so now, who was it that wanted to do? You meant to do that?
I would like to do that.
Okay, so go ahead and roll and add your lover since you used the same attitudes.
Oof, I got a 5.
You got a 5. Okay. Okay, so I think what that means is that, so you get to mark 1 experience there on that. So you see Titus running back and forth like that, and you go running after, it looks like Titus is onto something, and so now there's 2 cats like going back and forth through all of the doors there. So while that's happening, let's check in on the chairman who ended up in the basement with a dead rat. So what is your plan here?
Plan is just to get up back to the humans and
Okay.
present this bountiful source of meat.
Okay,
I'm sure
so yeah. So you can see there's like a staircase to one side of the basement. It's one of those like the wooden staircase with the open risers, and you start up the staircase, and you see a pair of glowing eyes there, and you see that they belong to a cat who is a black and white cat, looks very thin, and she hisses at you, "Who are you, and what are you doing here?"
Put down the rat, kind of guarding it a little bit, and gesture at it. Say, I'm trying to impress the humans. Who are you? What are you doing here?
She says, "Why would you want to impress them? They're bad people. You should get out of here."
Why are they so bad?
She says, "Look at me," and she like holds out her paw, and you can see she's like really skinny. And she says, "They have no food, and they stole my kittens."
Wait. It kind of like sinks into him for a little while, and then he kind of
they stole my kittens. They put them in a box and they took them somewhere else. I don't know where they went. These are bad people. You need to get out of here.
Okay. I think I trust you. Let's see.
I mean, if you wanna see how much you can trust her, you could sniff a butt.
I was looking at my options there. I don't think I really need any of those questions answered.
Okay.
We'll just go with it.
Okay.
I guess unless she turns.
And she's also like she's wanting to get away, and she's also looking at your rat, like as one of those things where she thinks she's being subtle, but like she's really obviously just like looking at your rat that you brought.
Yeah, I'll
because you can smell the delicious smell of dead rat.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine that I'm fairly well fed. I mean, I had a couple good bites of kibble. And so kind of finally putting the situation together, I'll become less defensive of the rat. I'll also notice that she's obviously starving. And here, comrade, maybe you could join us. And but maybe we should look to see if we can get back out of here. And so while I'll back away and let her have at the rat, and then I'm going to kind of change of plans, look around for some way to climb up and get out through this window that I came in, or maybe some other way.
Okay, so not going up the staircase.
Nope. She stopped me dead in my tracks, and I think I believe her because I mean, I probably would have heard some yelling and whatnot. And she's starving looking, and the story that she tells with the kittens is kind of like it all eventually starts to sink in.
Okay. So if you want to try to just jump back out that same window, that would be jump, pounce, run. If you want to try to find some other route, you could sing the song of your people to remember something about how basements tend to be laid out and what other kind of stuff tends to be there.
Plus attitude is just the whichever
one we decide makes sense. So I would say for this it would be feral, because you've decided you want to get away from these humans. So you'd be rolling anything that's plus attitude. You'd be doing feral,
not domestic. Okay, but it would be a human thing, so it's not loner lover.
Right.
Okay, in that say, I probably don't want to go
+1
singing the song of my people.
Okay.
But this would, I guess, jump, pounce, run would be the same thing.
It would be the same bonus. It'd be the same mechanic, like numbers wise. It's just a matter of which set of options do you want to look at. So jump, pounce, run, if you want to just see if you can jump back out that same window. Sing the song of your people if you're looking for another way out.
Yeah. Hopefully, I can show the way to Mama Cat here, and I'll make this a jump, pounce, run, kind of going for that, giving them a +1.
Okay, helping her to find her way out. Okay. So go ahead and roll it.
Still a plus. Let's see, where are we on our track?
Yeah, so you're getting a 1.
1 from fear.
There.
Go ahead and reroll. Ooh, okay. That modifier was needed because the dice were a 6, and the +1 puts me to a 7.
Puts you to a 7. Okay, so you'll make it, but either you'll draw unwanted attention or you'll end up in the wrong place.
Boy, let's pick the unwanted attention, because let's make things chaotic.
Okay.
And I guess there's already been like bucket of nails knocked over in one room. Why not some noises down in the basement as well?
Okay.
Some I don't know what might break
so
apocalyptic basement here.
Yeah, well, so you jump up out of there, and we'll say that to get back up to that window, you so this is the laundry room. So you jump onto the dryer, and then from there up onto the into the window. But when you land on the dryer, I mean, you make that sound like if you hit a dryer hard with something heavy, right? That bong kind of sound. So it makes a really loud sound as you just jump off of it to get back up out. And you hear some sort of a shout from inside, and so clearly the humans have heard this. Okay, so let's see. So Chairman Meow just jumped back out. Churchill and Titus are running back and forth in those the hallway there. Timmy is with them, help them find their way in. So I think we haven't heard about Bubastis in a little while. And so, because last we heard, you had gotten up on that table and you were, explaining your point of view to the humans and had kind of stumped them. They weren't gonna throw you down, but so finally one of we'll say the skinnier of the men says something to the little girl and points over towards the corner of the kitchen. And so the little girl goes over to that corner of the kitchen, and you see there's a food dish there. And it's one of those ones that has the 2 bowls to it. And so one side has water in it. The other side has a few tiny crumbs. And so the girl goes to, there's a Rubbermaid kind of container next to it. And the girl goes over and she opens it up and she gets a scoop, and she scoops just a few pieces of kibble into the food side of the dish and closes it, and then she gestures for you to come over.
I would like to reward the humans for recognizing that I was explaining to them how important I am to their lives. Mm-hmm. Can I use sing the song of my people to discern a good way forward to reward the humans?
Yeah, I think we can make that work.
From my time with the professor, I have a special ability of book learning where I add +1 to that roll.
Okay, sounds good. And so you'd be this would be domestic here. So you don't get a bonus from that, but the colony as a whole will get more domestic after you do this, because this will be the 5th domestic roll that we've had.
Cool. So I'm thinking like whether it's like batting a cockroach or something, or doing something that they would seem like that the humans would like. So I rolled 9 again. So with my +1, that's 10 again.
All right, sounds good. So I guess we can adapt that. You recall something humans did that helps cats. You recall something cats did that humans like. So you remember that the professor that you lived with really liked it when cats do the thing where they stretch and they like stretch their toe beans out like that. Like, he always found that really adorable. So that's a universal humans love when cats do that thing.
So
at least within this universe.
I like leap off the kitchen table and do a very seductive stretch. All my little toe beans are doing their thing. And then I go over and nibble on the kibble.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't mean to ruin your elegant scene there, but I think Timmy's out in the hall, right? He was going to go get that kitten.
Dude, don't mess this up for me.
Hit the bowl, I think Timmy's rocketing in there because he remembers what the sound of kibbles hitting bowls means.
Yeah. So so you rush in there, and there's only a few kibbles in this bowl. There's not very much. She has rationed this food very sparingly. And so you both can kind of understand after, a few, whoa, here's my cat hopping out of my chair, almost knocking me over. He rolled a 10 on Don't Pounce Run. Good job, Mr. Monks. So, you finish that kibble off in a few bites, and you now kind of understand why Mama Cat was so skinny, if this is all they are feeding her on a regular basis. And you also hear, let's say the skinnier of the two men yell something that, is clearly some form of like, what the hell, another cat? And he yells something at the little girl, and she seems to be saying something defensive, like, "It wasn't me. I didn't let that other cat in here." There you go, Mr. Monks. No, don't drink my water. Okay. So the humans are now having a little consternation over the fact that they've got 2 new cats in the house, when they had just tried to reduce the cat population by getting rid of those kittens.
If only they knew.
So then, as you're running back and forth, Churchill and Titus, you actually do eventually wind up in the doorway that leads to the basement, and you see Mama Cat there, chowing down on the last little bits of that rat that the chairman brought in. And so as you come through the door at the top and see her there, and she turns to you, and she, again, kind of glares at you and hisses, and it's like, "What are you doing here? Were you with that other one?"
Gentleman talking about everyone should share, that sort of thing. Was that him?
She nods. She's like, "Yes, I'm interested in subscribing to your newsletter.
Ah, yes.
I see the benefits of communism.
Everyone eventually does. Can I ask you, why do you live with these people?
She says, they don't let me out. They kept me here. I think because I make the little girl happy. But they don't have any food. And the fat one throws me across the room. And the skinny one kicks me. And they stole my kittens.
It will be fine. You can come live with us. You and your kittens can come live with us in the colony. And you can come back and visit the little girl whenever you want. These people are good.
She says, where is this colony?
It's not too far from here. We could hear the kittens in the stream from it. So you will be nearby.
She said, and where are my kittens? Do you know where my kittens are?
2 of them are outside. 1 of them is inside, as are several more of our colony. And we will all leave now.
Did you happen to see a particularly stuck-up cat?
She thinks about it and she's like, I think I know who you mean. There's so many cats in here suddenly.
I suppose we'll need
to retrieve her. How are we getting out? They locked the front door.
Yeah. Where did Chairman Meow go?
And she kind of points over towards the dryer. And just as she's doing that, you hear footsteps in the hallway. One of the humans has come to investigate the sound of the dryer. And so you catch kind of out of the corner of your eye a hand reaching down towards you, and we'll say Churchill is the one most directly in the path of this hand reaching down to grab you.
Oh, he's ever going to regret that.
You're gonna make him regret it.
I think I'm going to swiftly kind of turn and give that low towards him as I say, Titus, try to get her out of here. And,
okay. So it sounds like you're doing claws out here.
I was trying to. I don't know. Would it trigger my move?
Oh, your special move. Yeah, let me go look at the.
If the counts, it would be is this me protecting the colony, or is this me?
I think I think we can. I think we can frame it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and do stand your ground. This sounds feral because you are menacing a human to get them to back down.
All right, and our feral is
is now at 0. You ticked over to +1 domestic, 0 feral on that last roll here, so you don't get that bonus.
All right.
So just roll it.
Come on, baby. Oh, that's bad.
What'd you get?
3.
You rolled a 3. Okay, so remember you could sacrifice a life to go out in a blaze of glory, getting this human to back off, or you could accept the failure on this.
Let's see, and if I lose a life, then I'm out of scene until we get a new scene.
You're out until the beginning of the next scene, which won't be that long because we're swapping back and forth.
I think this is what I do, and so I'll say, "Run, run!" and I'm going to leap, and as he's reaching down, I'm going to do that cat thing of either side of his arm and just claw towards his face.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll say this is the skinny guy. So yeah, you claw your way right up your arm to his face, and he screams and stumbles out into a different room with you on him. Let's say he stumbles into the bathroom, and he manages to peel you off of him, and he stuffs you into the toilet, and slams the toilet lid and like collapses down on the toilet, and he's like, bleeding from all these scratches, and he's gonna be out of commission for a little bit here because you really did a number on him, but he also it also cost you a life because he flushed you. Yeah. All right,
So
but that's
while that's going on, I think Titus goes, "Mama," to me, and kind of starts waddling down the hallway, back in the direction I think that Timmy and I came from, back towards that window.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so yeah, Mama Cat will follow you back out. So Timmy and Bubastis, since you were over in the kitchen having some kibble, what are you? And you hear all this going on, right? And you certainly hear you hear Churchill like yowling as he attacks the human. You hear the human screaming in agony, and you hear like the crashing in the bathroom and all of that. And both the other humans kind of jump up and like, what's going on? So what are the two of you in the kitchen gonna do here?
Timmy screams to Bubastis, "Get that orange kitten! Take her down the hallway! I'll take the human." And I start going, weaving myself between the legs of the adult that's standing there near the kibble bowl, trying to get him to trip.
Okay.
It is becoming pretty obvious that these humans aren't up to my normal standard, and this household will not suffice. I sideways look at Timmy as Timmy's ordering me to pick up a runt.
A dirty kid.
But I see his plan, and I'm like, all right, let's get out of here. This is no house for any self-respecting feline. No wonder they breed them so pathetic here. So I slink over, pick up the orange kitty.
All right. So I'd like you each to roll a jump, pounce, run feral to see how this all comes out, because it sounds like all three of you are doing some physically acrobatic stuff here. So just whoever gets the roll in first, tell me how you did.
I've got an 8.
I got 11.
Okay, so Timmy gets an 8 in trying to trip up the human, so you'll do it, but you'll either draw unwanted attention or end up in the wrong place. Which would you like?
Well, I think it's more interesting if I end up in the wrong place.
Okay. So we're gonna say that so you're kind of snaking around his legs, and he's like trying to like grab you, and gets himself totally tripped up, and he falls down and hits the floor pretty hard, and like the little girl screams because all this wacky stuff is going on, and so you jump to get out of the way as he's falling, because like he's gonna fall right on you, so you jump to get out of the way, and you jump into the refrigerator, which was partway open from them starting to serve dinner, and the door kind of closes behind you. So you're now in the fridge.
Oh, no.
And so then Bubastis, you said you got an 11 on that. Okay, so you get to pick either bystanders are left dumbfounded and confused, or anyone else gets a +1 to following in your paw prints.
Let's go +1 for followers.
Okay, good. So anybody else trying to escape from the house is going to get a +1 on that. And so, yeah, so you rush over behind the couch, and that little orange kitten is just like in shock, right? This is more stuff than has happened, today. More things have happened to this kitten today than in her entire life, as short as it has been up until this point. So she's just kind of in shock. And you grab her by the scruff and hightail it back out, kind of following back towards where the back window there is. Okay. All right. So let me make sure I know where everybody has ended up. So the chairman is outside after having dropped off the rat. Titus is headed for the back window. Bubastis is headed for the back window. Timmy is in the fridge and Churchill's in the toilet, right? Did I get that all correct? Okay. All right, so I'm going to say everybody going for the window. I won't make you roll anything else. I think it makes sense that you can all slip out that window. Mama Cat comes with you. So the three of you plus the kitten come tumbling back out of that window, and I imagine the chairman is like right there to see this all happen. And so, what do you make of all these now 4 cats coming rushing back out of the house?
Yeah, I was counting. I count them. Yes, so good soldiers. We're missing 2. Where's Timmy and Churchill?
I spit out the orange runt, and Timmy's gone. Let's move on.
And Titus says, Churchill attacked the humans to let us get away.
Oh dear. We can't just leave them in there.
That's right. We won't.
So I will declare that at this point we've moved to a new scene. So Churchill, anytime you want to like show up again, you're welcome to do so. We're into a new scene now, but so continue.
Let's just stake it out and see what happens with Timmy.
Look, he's gone forever. Like
presumably Churchill.
That look, they're gone. We found this nest of humans. Surely there'll be some more adequate humans. Where there's humans, there's usually more. We've lost a few. We've gained a few. I reckon we've come out pretty good.
Where did Timmy end up? It doesn't sound like Churchill's gonna get out of his predicament, but who knows? But where did Timmy end up?
Timmy ended up in the cold white box, the one with the door that you can't pour open.
Well, yeah, but the humans open that box like all the time. He'll be able to get out.
Look, I don't know. The humans were pretty cranky. Look, they'll probably just eat him. That's fine.
How can you say that?
So let's flip back to Timmy in the fridge. How are you feeling in the fridge there?
I'm cold. I'm regretting my my life's decisions.
Yeah, it's a fairly sparse fridge. There's only a few things in there, and I have a weird idea occurred to me, and you can all tell me that this is too weird or that you don't like this. But it occurred to me that if this is one of those fridges that has like the automatic ice maker and water dispenser that's therefore plugged into the house plumbing, that Churchill could show up in the fridge since he has been recently in the house plumbing. That's up to you. That's up to you.
Certainly a thing. I was thinking it might be more plausible for him to pop his head out of a nearby drain.
I actually had kind of that thought similar myself.
Okay, yeah. So go
just,
what you want.
We just have it ice cube shape kitty following us around for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I was sort of imagining that as all of this, horrible snark is coming from Bethesda, that there's sort of an as Churchill kind of comes clawing up out of the storm drain, sort of wet, looking horrible, and disgusting.
Yes, you are. You're alive.
How nice to see you back. Seems even these humans weren't delighted to see you.
Meow.
While we are waiting for Timmy...
Timmy's not here?
Timmy's not here. Timmy is in the white box inside, the cold one. But Chairman Meow said we should wait and see if Timmy can find his way out before we go back in. So, while we are here, we should mark this area and make sure that other cats don't know that this is a bad area.
So then do we just see a 5-minute montage of everyone peeing everywhere?
I like that. That's good.
Well, yes, and it wasn't just stand around and wait. It was like look into the windows, because there was a window into the kitchen area, right?
Yeah, there's a window you can see into the kitchen.
All right, I'll take post and let everyone else, unless Titus wants to take watch. Since I mean, your scent marking doesn't quite smell right.
That's right. So,
all right, you keep watch, and the rest of us will make sure that this house smells like cat.
It's go away pee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Titus, as you're
perfect meow timing.
So Titus, as you are watching into the kitchen, you see the little girl. The two men seem to have disappeared. Who knows where they went to? Probably to go metaphorically lick their wounds. But the little girl is still around, and she looks kind of sad because for a while there were all these cats in the house, and now there's no cats in the house. And she's kind of standing around near the refrigerator door. And so all it would take was for her to reach out and open that door. It would release Timmy if you could in some way persuade her to do so.
Well, all I need to do is say, "Meow, meow," and call to her. Okay. I can tell it's her because she's quiet and small walking around out there.
Yeah. So that sounds. Yeah. Go ahead.
She's been friendly.
Yeah.
She's not bad like the man.
Yeah. All right. So that sounds like show those beans. Go ahead and.
Okay. I've got extra cute beans.
For that.
Ooh.
You get a +1.
I got a 9 on the die, +1 for being cute, and +2, so 11.
All right. Yeah. So you mew seductively at her, and for whatever reason, this makes her want to open the fridge.
Oh,
you know,
well, she
she's-
can hear us coming from the bridge. So.
Yeah. So she opens that door and finds one very cold cat inside there, but the coast is now clear for you to make your escape.
And I think at this point, Titus bangs on the window
Mhm.
and shouts through so that Timmy can hear, "Go to the back window how we came in. We're all safe. You have to get out now." What this sounds like to the little girl is...
I'm wrapping myself around her legs in a friendly way. And I'm trying to think, can anyone of you think of a way that I could sort of tell her that we're at the junkyard and she can come visit us?
You could tug on her like skirt and like try and drag her.
Pull her in the direction. Well, we can always keep an eye out for her in the future and bring her to the thing. So I'll just wrap my legs around.
If it's just
Go ahead.
guys in the room, you could like try to get her attention and then go to the door like cats do and basically make like you want to be let out, and then you could sort of, you know, make like, you know, wrap a, you know, do the legs thing and try to get her to follow you. But it is nighttime, so maybe the best you'll get out of her is...
I think mainly I just want to show her where we are. But I will do the door thing. Even though Titus is telling me to go to the back, I think having this relationship with her, I will try to have a normal cat-human relationship and go over to the door and paw at it and hope that she will let me out, since she let me out of the refrigerator.
Okay.
We're already on the domestic side, and honestly, I'm it's out of character. I'm kind of thinking this little girl's a little bit like Elmira. she's led us to her doom with the cat craziness.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and roll show those beans again?
All right, it's 5 plus 1 for being dashing, and another plus 1 for our current domestic level, right? That's 7.
Yeah, so that gets you up to 7. Okay. So she will let you out, and she will kind of watch where you go, so that she gets an idea of, you know, where she could go to find cats in the future. And so what she wants from you, you definitely get the idea that you know, she expects to get to pet some cats if she comes by. That you know, if she comes visiting, you better muster the whole colony to give her the best cat experience that she can have, and then she'll be happy and continue to come visit.
Even Bubastis will have to get petted.
Yeah, you'll have to
submit.
You have to talk Bubastis into participating from time to time.
I think it's this negotiation is going on. You know, the camera sees Titus with his little paws up against the window, waiting with bated breath, going.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like that kind of brings us to the end of this little adventure here. You've all made it back out of the house. You've got the kittens. You've got Mama Cat with you. So you've got more members of your colony here. So yeah, so that's Cat-pocalypse World.
Yay!
Yay!
So I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast here, and then we can stick around and chat a little bit about it and so forth if you like.